From the City of Angels near the Pacific Ocean, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm George Norrie. Welcome to Coast AM. Emerging artists for you for the first couple hours tonight. And you can see their full information on our website, coasttocoastam.com. And did you know you can get to our website by going to C2, that's the number, C2CAM.com as well. And later tonight, channeling subtle energy. Here's what's happening. More than 60 people arrested over the violence in the Ukrainian port city of Odessa have been freed by police after protesters attacked the main police station. Several hundred pro-Russian protesters besieged the police headquarters, breaking through windows and doors. The clashes on Friday had left more than 40 people dead, mostly pro-Russian separatists killed in a building fire. We're going to continue to monitor this story this week. All our experts say this could erupt into something huge. France is expected to suspend pig-related imports from a number of countries as worries grow over the spread of a deadly swine virus. The virus has killed some 7 million piglets just in the United States in the past year. This disease has also been found in Canada, Mexico, and Japan. Earlier this year, a slaughterhouse in Northern California was the center for one of the biggest meat recalls in years. Rancho Feeding Corporation had called back nearly 9 million pounds of bad meat from thousands of unsuspecting stores across the country. The story of how millions of pounds of bad meat, products that the U.S. Department of Agriculture called unfit for human food, made its way out into the world and triggered a criminal investigation, is one of the staggering deceptions of cancerous cows. Federal investigators started surveillance on the California facility after getting a tip from a former Rancho employee. In January, the federal marshals raided the plant and seized the company's records. Days later, the first recall notice went out. Investigators now believe that Rancho was buying diseased dairy cows and processing them when government inspectors weren't there after the cows were killed. Employees would hide the warning signs of cancer by trimming off diseased parts. Kind of makes you want to become a vegan. They used a fake stamp of approval or even replacing the heads of sick cows with ones from healthy animals. Our food safety expert, Coach Jeff Nelkin, with us. Jeff, this has got to be one of the sickest recall stories I've ever heard.
I agree with you 100%.
What can happen to us if we've eaten these cancerous cows?
Well, so far, from what I've read, the cancer was specific. It was like an eye cancer, and they didn't feel that, with the eye processing, that it really had an impact. No one so far has gotten ill, but the USDA has made what they call a Class 1 recall, which means there's a health hazard situation. The question you really want to begin to ask is, how did they get away with this for a whole year, producing this meat with a inspector on the premise all the time? So obviously they were doing this processing when the inspector wasn't there. But what about all the other third-party auditing people that come in? Because these people were supplying maybe 35 states,
Jeez.
Nestle's Hot Pockets, just a lot of products that this inexpensive meat, obviously, was being sold. And then the tryst to all this is that the inspector was having an affair with the manager.
Oh.
So now the question is, this is becoming even a deeper, like a deeper plot.
Oh, my God, it's a movie.
Exactly.
All right, Jeff. Jeff's website, foodsafetycoach.com. Babies born to women over 35 who smoke are at greater risk of having specific heart defects, according to an American research study. The study from Seattle's Children's Hospital adds to existing evidence that smoking during pregnancy can damage babies' hearts, as well as increase the risk of miscarriage, small babies, and premature birth. Now, it may seem the stuff of gothic horror novels, but transfusions of young blood could reverse the aging process and even cure Alzheimer's disease, according to scientists. Now, don't run out and bite somebody. Throughout history, Cultures across the globe have extolled the properties of youthful blood, with children sacrificed and the blood of young warriors drunk by the victors. It was even rumored that then North Korean dictator Kim Jong-il injected himself with the blood from healthy women to slow the aging process. Now scientists have found that young blood actually recharges the brain, forms new blood vessels, and improves memory and learning. At least 9 Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circus performers, the greatest show on earth, injured in Providence, Rhode Island, after an apparatus used in their act failed. 8 performers fell when their hair hang apparatus, which holds performers by their hair, failed, and they just all dropped to the ground. Another performer was injured on the ground. Earth entering a stream of debris from Halley's Comet. Forecasters expect the shower to peak on the night of May 5th and 6th, as many as 60 meteors an hour in the southern hemisphere and half that number in the north. Small asteroid about the size of a city bus zipped by us at a range closer than the moon early Saturday. It posed no threat to our planet. The newly discovered asteroid, 2014 HL-129, came within 186,000 miles. That's a little too close for comfort for me. Let's check in with, of course, planetary expert and scientist Dan Durda, who helps watch the skies. Dan, how did this one almost get past us?
Hey, George. Well, you know, it's like many of the other little asteroids of its size that are passing by us at any given time. This sounds kind of like a newsworthy thing, but I'll tell you, any given day, there are objects like this passing between us and the moon. We just obviously don't see all of them.
Well, we lucked out again. But there's going to be a time, Dan, you're going to be on this program with me, coast to coast, and we're going to get hit. And we're going to be talking about the damage caused by an asteroid strike. I know it's going to happen.
Oh, well, you know, and it happened about a year and a half ago, a year and a few months ago, at least, with Chelyabinsk. So it tells us right there that these things can and do happen.
I hear rumors you may be going up into space.
Hey, well, more than just rumors. I am indeed going to be flying probably sometime next year, in the next year or two, something like that, with a couple of the commercial suborbital companies, getting ready for my ticket to the stars.
How long are you going to be up there?
Well, these are suborbital flights. This is the Alan Shepard special, right?
Up and down.
Up and down. That's right. A few minutes in zero G, up at the top, high enough to see the curvature of the Earth. Good enough for me.
Strap a tape recorder to yourself, and we'll play it on the show.
Oh, you bet.
Can you do that?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, Dan, be well. Dan Durda, planetary scientist. A naked man who had been running and doing push-ups, naked, in a Portland street, was struck by a car and killed early on Saturday. Portland police say they received 2 phone calls about the man in a street in the industrial area of North Portland, but the man was killed before they arrived at the scene. A third call said a car had hit the man. The driver stopped at the scene. He was cooperative. He was not impaired by alcohol or drugs. Now you think I may have passed on and we're in the clouds somewhere. No, that's not the case. It's harp music. Angels play it, they say. But in a moment, Carrol McLaughlin joins us. Manifest moment to moment. 8 principles to manifest the life you truly desire. How harp music helps you heal and creates energy. She's next on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast to Coast. I'm George Norrie. Carrol McLaughlin is a distinguished professor of harp at the University of Arizona, heading one of the most respected harp departments in the world. Her education includes the Juilliard School of Music and the first doctorate in harp performance ever awarded. She has performed extensively around the world and is a renowned harpist, teacher, author, energy healer, and she's on Coast to Coast for a couple hours. Hi, Carrol.
Hi.
So you've got to, even before we get into the background of harp and how it makes people energetic, how did you get interested in this?
Well, I'm from northern Canada, and it's not the kind of place that you can just walk down to the corner shop and find a harp.
No.
But my dad owned a motel, and at age 4, I declared to the world that I was going to play the harp. In fact, my grandmother used to read me a story about a little lost angel who got locked out of heaven and walked around giving away her wings to a lame boy, and and met a woman who was crying and said, "Here, I'll heal you. I'll make you happy. I'll give you my harp." And according to my grandma, I'd say, "I want to play the harp." So that got stuck. We read a lot of books at 40 Below in northern Canada. And my dad found a man in Toronto who sent us a harp, an instruction book in French. And nobody in Grand Prairie spoke French. So every time a person came through the hotel who spoke French, he didn't pay for his room and had to come down to the house behind the hotel, translate a page.
That's funny.
I was playing in Toronto a number of years ago, and a really wise and fabulous old man kind of hobbled up to the stage at intermission, and he said, "Young lady, I was one of your first teachers."
Isn't that cool? Did you ever play at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Toronto?
Yes, I have.
I do my events there when I'm in Toronto every year, and it's a great venue, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So the harps themselves, Carol, they're tall, or what, 6, 7 feet tall?
Yeah, about 6 feet.
And is that you playing with it?
No,
oh.
but she's here. You want to hear it? This is Bertha.
Right next to you.
Yeah.
How come they sound so angelic?
Because they are. Don't you read the publicity?
Of course I read the publicity. They've in every movie, harps are always associated with angels.
I know. And if you go back to the Bible, King David played the harp to get rid of headaches.
How many strings are on a harp?
47.
47 strings.
And the hard part's the pedals. So around the base,
my gosh,
there's 7 pedals, 1 for each note. And each pedal has 3 positions for flat, natural, and sharp. So if you've got your pedal in the right position and you play the right colored string, you're cooking. If the pedal's in the wrong position, no matter that you're playing the right note, it'll sound wrong. So it makes it one of the most difficult instruments to play, which I got to tell you, there's nothing about the pedals that's angelic.
No, not about the pedals, but I got to tell you, it's harder than a guitar to play, isn't it?
It's one of the hardest instruments, yeah.
And how many expert harp players are there on this planet?
Oh, we're a handful.
There's not that many.
There's probably 10 people who are world esteemed, or
my gosh,
15 or 20 of us. Not many.
Does every major symphony, there's a great symphony in St. Louis, for example, do they all have harpists?
They would have harpists, and an orchestra harpist has a field of specialty, and a solo performer like myself has a specialty, and people who play in the movies, in